I had to submit them, and good enough, I was recognized. Thank you. Then on top of that, this has being an environmental climate change science reporter. This has linked me to many civil society organizations, and networking with the environmentalists and the indigenous people, because these indigenous people have without their knowledge, because they are trying their level best to mitigate the adaptation measures using their local knowledge. So previously, due to these links and networking, I've published so far 2 stories. The recent story I did it for Indigenous Times. Yeah, I was looking about how people on the top hills, on the slopes of Mount Rwenzori, are practicing agroforestry, in planting coffee, and they are planting coffee and growing trees, and this practice is really improving the coffee production and preventing soil erosion, and even of course mudslides in the areas of Kasika, that is in Songora North, where previously was hit by mudslides. So this connection and the knowledge I obtained, I'm really glad that at least now the indigenous people are getting trust in us, who write issues concerning them. And it is always good. It's always good. Let me share it with my colleagues. It is always good to take the stories back to the community in a way that you can share maybe your story link to the people you interviewed, to see how they appeared in the news. This makes them to trust you for next time when you approach them. So when I go there in the hills making follow-ups, this has helped me to get easy sources, especially the primary sources. Whenever there's a disaster, I have people to link up with because of that trust. And then, Mr. Martin, I'm glad even to inform you that out of the knowledge that you obtained and the write-ups that you have been doing, especially issues related to environment and climate change, have been nominated again in the African Science Climate Journalist Awards that are going to happen in South Africa in December.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So,
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. So all it is because of the Rwenzori Media Foundation, the knowledge we obtained from the science writers, like the people who came to speak to us, the professor, that is Professor Dr. Tayewa, and a colleague in Infonile, that is Mujira. They helped me on how to link the local issues with the science, and some of the stories I did in that line have been spotted out by the international media, which is a mark. Thank you, Mr. Martin, for giving me the opportunity to be part of that training and for the knowledge I obtained. Then another thing, Mr. Martin, I want to inform you and the colleagues that now, due to local publication, like integrating this story into local knowledge and into local languages, now at least the community people are observing that climate is here and it is a reality. So they are now moving to adopt how they can live and mitigate some of the effects of climate change, like adopting to renewable energy use like solar in our community. Like people are now irrigating, practicing irrigation using solar, that is the renewable energy. Due to that Kasese is in line with the equator, there's too much sunshine. So this solar irrigation system, it is really doing well. And some of the communities are now harvesting even in dry season. Even in dry season, vegetables. If you go to Mohocha camp, in Mohocha, that is internal IDP camp, intern displaced camp, at least residents there are now practicing irrigation, and they are getting what to eat.
Yeah.
And some of the civil organizations who helped them in this technology, it is improving their livelihoods. However, there's some challenges.
Yes.
Because there's some challenges because, of course, we know the government promised them to give them land. It is now almost 5 years. They are still waiting. But anyway, they are living and they are improving their livelihoods due to the new technologies of using solar irrigation system. And then even communities are now knowing that indigenous trees, especially like the buck tree, and we'll use the local names, the Musisho. There's some identified indigenous trees that people are using because of their importance, like they have a networking root system, they have deep roots. So people who are staying on the slopes of Mount Rwenzori, they are planting these trees along their lands to avoid the storm winds and even the mudslides and even erosion, because those are some of the challenges that people on the slopes of Mount Rwenzori have been facing due to climatic changes. The topsoil have been running down due to too much rainfall during the rain seasons, but now people are adopting to plant these indigenous trees around their farms, and they are doing well. You find they are saving their farms, they are practicing agriculture within within those areas midst the climate effects. So, Mr. Martini, I will even inform you that the community in Kasese is now adopting to different measures to improve their livelihoods, to improve their living, to maintain their gardens, and even to support their health in a way that they are even planting fruit trees, not only for fruits, but even other fruit trees are used for medicinal. But this is because of informing and translating the scientific way of broadcasting these messages into the local languages so that they can able to know which type of trees they need, especially on the slopes.
Thank you very much.
Like as you were trained that science uses scientific language, and sometimes the local community, it is hard to interpret this. So we, of course, with my editor, that is Ram, we are trying to break these scientific terminologies into local language so that our people can be able to help themselves and understand the information we broadcast across. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much, brother. We really appreciate what you guys are doing in as far as, informing, educating, creating awareness is concerned. And we are very happy that you are not just sitting on the skills that you acquired. You are doing something with the skills and the knowledge that you got from the trainings. So, Fred, let me get back to you. You say rich people are destroying the environment. What stories have you done in that regard? If you can maybe pick one story and you know, yeah.
I didn't get you, Mr. Martin.
I am saying you say that rich people are destroying the environment in Fort Portal. Can you tell us about a story that you have written in that regard, or a program that you did hold?
Well, in fact, it's like 1 month ago when we wrote a story about how these rich people, how prominent people are destroying our environment. And after that story had run, we got a feedback from different people who came on board actually to intimidate. Instead of entering to calm the situation, to see what can be done, some people came to intimidate, who are you to write these stories, this is our land. That's what they were saying. But I managed to talk to our RDC, in fact, assistant RDC. They said they are now going to start a real operation, a serious operation regarding those people that have seriously destroyed the environment. And I'm sure he's going to do that. We are also pushing. In fact, of recent, I was talking to the minister, our local minister, our minister for our government here. If she can push for that, at least we send our voice up there, because we can run stories here, but you don't know what those people are saying. The Minister of maybe Environment, Minister of Water, and what can they really do? Because we have realized, we have understood from what people do put across, especially when we are in programs, these people adamant, they do it knowing that nothing can be done. But can we have a serious role being enforced? That's what now we are pushing for. Because we may keep on doing these things, and people may kill you, by the way. When you see some of the threatening messages, somebody meets you and says, for me, I can even beat you, I can kill you, you have nothing to do for me. This is my land, I can do whichever I feel like doing. But we really need in one way or another, some protection in case it's there, because these things are happening and we are fearing for our lives. Like there is a certain story which we wrote, in Toroko, how human activities are affecting our environment. And one big person from there directly called me, saying that, but you man, you see, when these things are happening, there is a reason. Don't you know that I even have every document that gives me authority to use this land? And somebody is using land, is destroying the environment, but does not need any person maybe talk about him, and when actually he's doing something wrong. But now we wish, like, for you, the organizations, if you can partner with other organizations that deal in environment, we see how best we can help our local people, because people are suffering. At the end of it all, when a one rich person destroys environment, 1,000 poor people like Fred will suffer the consequence when the rich person is enjoying the life. So I don't know whether, Martin, you have those plans to partner, to coordinate with these big organizations in different areas, and we'll see how we can work together to solve those challenges. More stories are being run, and we are continuing to run those stories regardless of what. But challenges that we do meet, sometimes you find maybe your workplaces, you are also not protected. Maybe you may find your manager can be compromised at any juncture, and you find you are between the deep and deep blue sea. Those are some of the challenges, but otherwise we shall keep on pushing. That's it, Mr. Martin.
Thank you very much, Fred. Really appreciate that. We'll talk about the challenges and support needs later in a few minutes. Let's first talk to Goret. Goret, are you there? Goret? Goret, are you there? Goret, are you there?
Yes, I'm available. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you great. Yes.
Okay, yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you,
And,
great.
I'm saying that everyone is looking good. So, me, first and foremost, I would like to appreciate the Wenzori Media Development Foundation and to you, Mr. Kibaba, for the training that we had.
You're most
I, as
welcome.
a person, you did a lot of work, and in that training, we learned a lot of things. I, as a person, first of all, I got a confidence as a journalist. What am I supposed to do as an environmental journalist? What type of a story am I supposed to publish? Me, by the time I attended that training, I was working with Voice of Toru Radio, and I have published a lot of stories, both on TV, online, and on radio. The first story is about the garbage heap at Kabundaira Market, which is ending Nyakimia Swamp. And I did that story. I have the link for both TV. I worked it for a TV and for a radio and the online. So in the training, we were taught a lot of things like solution journalism, how to apply for grants, how to engage the key people that are the key, how can I call it? The key players. And those are the environment officers, the Ministry of Environment and Water and Environment, all things. And from that training, as I told you that I published a lot of stories, both online, TV, and radio. Even I also focused on human rights and conservation that conflicts. Whether the Forest Authority, National Forest Authority is trying to defend or to conserve the forest. What about the human rights side? I wanted to do a story about ONU in Chenjojo, where people were evicted in order for conserve that forest. And up to now, those people are still suffering nowhere, and their land is still there, and others are, I don't know from where are using that land. And when you talk to National Forest Authority, they say that this was a forest, so we are conserving the forest. Yes, we are conserving the forest. What about the human rights? Are they protected? And that story, it is the same story that I was talking with Baingana, Daniel.
Yes.
Said, for me, I stopped working on those stories of wetlands and what because of the incident that happened on him. So he said, if you are coming, you come and do that story. But for me, I won't be there. So even you see that that is the side of challenge we are having. We are trying to let the world know what is exactly happening. Yes, the human activities are ending, what wetlands, forests, the river banks, so on. But even there is also an issue of what human conflicts, that side of it. The human rights are not protected. Then secondly, after that training, I mostly focused on doing environment story, even if when you check on my social media accounts, I always post stories on environment, how people are using these plastics to make sure that the environment is kept clean, is conserved. So I joined a network of environmental women human rights defenders network Uganda, where we have been commemorating the World Environmental Day. We were in Kavale. So interacting with different people to see how they do, because I wasn't knowing that a bottle you can get everything. You can get these shopping bags from the bottle from plastic. See, I didn't know it, but when we went for an exposure, I got it that the bottle you are using, even you can use it to grow what? To grow like eggplant, cabbages, you can plant in it, of which I didn't know. And those polythene bags, how you can use them to get other things that you can use in one way of conserving the environment. But it was an exposure, and I appreciate that one. I obtained it after the training.
Yes.
Then also, I have engaged with the many key players like the Wildlife Authority. Of course, most of them they conserve within the forest. How are the neighboring communities being affected by conserving those areas? Like recently we're having an issue of Kivale National Park. And that Kibale, we say it was a forest and the same time the game park. So people were complaining that it was about elephant invasion. Those people saw that their gardens were all destroyed by elephants. But what was Uwa saying about? That people say that conservation is about us, Uwa, but it is for everyone's responsibility, of which people they don't even I don't know how we can call it. They don't even know, or they know, but they don't take it as, because for them they were saying that the government sees conservation better than we human beings. So what should do? We do. They don't even think about that, about us. They only think about conserving, conserving, conserving. So that story, I did it for Ativa, and I also have a link. And recently, like I said, we learned a lot of things about how to apply for grants. I'm very grateful that recently I got a grant, an investigative grant, under Acme. It was from Acme, and I was working on that story. Of course, it was also conservation versus human rights. And that story was in Bundubujo for Vatwa. And for the good of it, even we have a team of environmental Vatwa women, human rights defenders. We have them on board. Like I told you that we have that network.
Yes.
Yeah, how are they conserving the environment in their area, in their camp, after eviction from the forest.
Yes.
So I published that story, and I engaged the Uganda Wildlife Authorities. Then that story of Kabundaire, I engaged the environment officers, and even up to now, I want to follow it, because what they told us and what we told the public has not been taken. Like they have not done it. So I'm planning to go and follow up what exactly happened, because they told us that we are going to remove that garbage, which when it rains, even you can't go in that market to get anything. The dirty from the garbage, then everything is like, I don't know how we can say it. So I'm trying to do a follow-up to find out what exactly went wrong. Why are they not responding to what, and why are they not acting like how they said and how they told us? Because that one will cause us problems. Like the public will start looking at us like no trust. You say you reported this and this, and they say that they are coming to do and this, but up to now we are still suffering. But when you talk, the mayor was like, you see, people should know that that one is a wetland. And when it rains, water also tries to find its what? It's a natural way. So they should not blame us that we are not doing our work, but they should be aware and they know it that it is a wetland from the starting and even before putting that market. So for me, I will continue working and mostly focusing on environment stories and working and finding ways how we can publicize the environmental conservation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gorette. We really appreciate that. Thank you for working. Keep on keeping on. Let's now maybe finally talk about challenges. What challenges are you facing in producing or airing your programs and doing your stories? What challenges are you facing?
Okay, like how I told you, security on our side is not good. You are working on a story and you find I had a friend was giving an example of the story. A prominent person, a tycoon, developing it like the Nakifubu, how you have seen it now it is. So you work on that story and someone will like, I'm not working on that story because of this one and this one, you will enter. So I told you that I was talking with Daniel, that journalist from Chenjojo, that I want to work on that story of that wetland because people have really lost it. But Daniel, because of the fear of what he faced before, he was like, for you, you continue working on those stories of wetland encroachment, but for me, I will not even come near to you. Then I said, we have a colleague here who is working at Voice of Toro, is Kagenda Edward. He's from that side of change. I said, Ed, why can't we work together to get that story? He was like, me even I can't appear, I can't show my face on that area. So you see that everyone is running from that thing, and yet we need to inform the public what exactly should be done and what is right and what is wrong. So that is an issue. Then the same issue sometimes we do like that story. It is an investigative environment story, but you don't have financial support. You need to go there. Security is one, transport, airtime, data, what, and you find you don't have all of those, all those things. And the media houses we are working with, for them, you can't even come out and say that I'm working on an investigative environment story, and you give me money, what? They will say, how are we going to benefit from it? They will start asking questions. For them, they invest where they are going to what? To get back. If they will say that if it is a political story, we would have supported you. You go there, we know that maybe the candidate will come back and buy like an airtime. So that is an issue of finance support. If you can, my request is if you can put like environmental reporting grants, we apply, we pitch, that one could help us dig deeper and expose what is unexposed. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Let's now talk to Fred. Let's talk to you. Great, don't go away. I'll come back to you. Fred, what challenges are you facing as a journalist in producing or airing programs and writing the stories?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Martin, for that kind of engagement. Basically, in fact, before I go to challenges, I need to tell you that we are getting more opportunities for publishing those stories because in one way or another, we have seen very many organizations coming on board after having published those stories concerning environment. In fact, they have bought airtime on different radio stations to elaborate, to clear the air, to explain, to put more ways how they can really conserve environment. Apart from that, there are challenges indeed that we have met. As I told you, I may find that our managers have no prior knowledge about what is happening around. Some of them studied different courses, and when you write a story about the environment, they are easily compromised. You know, there are some big people. So when that big person gets to know that you are the one that have written this story, he goes directly to your manager. You know, he compromises him. How does he do so? He just gives in the castone, gives in money. Say, you people fighting me. There is of recent when I had written a story about these mushrooming petrol stations. You know, they have a certain big effect in our communities. So somebody from just within here, Central Division, came directly, you know, was against it, tried his level best to see how can that one be stopped from running on radio station. But what I did, I kept on sharing to different, you know, radio stations, different platforms, and some other people picked interest. That is one challenge. Another challenge that we have made, obviously, there are threats from those big people. Those people, after getting Mr. Fred, you are the one writing those stories, they will threaten you. Like of recent, there was an eviction notice from Buteve, Butangwa, Deya, Rukoto to Virika. But we had written a story concerning the people that have seriously encroached on the environment. And they were constructing some permanent houses, permanent structures. So when when I wrote that kind of a story, you know, people were like, you know, there are even some other local people who are staying there who are doing their own things. People are, this man is fighting me. Why does he fight? Why does he fight us here? You know, people started calling, Fred, you see, you are fighting us, you know, this Randy, we are using it this way. And even there are some schools here, just for example, Martin, you know, here in Pune, there are some schools that have been built in wetland. And when it rains, flooding takes place.
Yes,
and you know, those are some of the challenges we are getting. So when somebody threatens and you find you don't have security, those are some of the challenges we are seriously meeting at this juncture. But otherwise, we are continuing saying those stories to do what we are supposed to do for the betterment of our community, for the betterment of Oro and Wenzori at large. Thank you very much.
Okay, Fred. Fred, are there any editorial or institutional barriers? Fred.
Well, for the editorial barriers, yes, previously we had, but the fact that I've got some engagement with you in different, and in fact in different trainings,
Yes.
I had no interest in environmental studies because sometimes a reporter could bring a story. I see a story, you know, it requires you know, calling somebody, acknowledging DC. It even takes a big space, you know, those environmental stories, some of them they're investigative. It can even take like 7, 8 paragraphs. At that time, I couldn't give them a space, but currently, at this time, I'm giving them space. I'm giving them a priority, and I'm very happy that some of my reporters have also picked an interest rather. They are working upon those stories. And this time, we don't have any editorial barrier that stops those stories from running, provided you have a clear source of the story. Provided even the editor gets know that your story that you are putting across isn't bias, it doesn't depend on bias. So at VOT now, I think we are. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my brother Fred. You know, I keep following all of you. I listen to you, Fred. I follow you on social media. So I'm really impressed. You guys are doing an amazing job. I follow Fred. I follow Maureen. You guys are doing an amazing job, and we really, really appreciate. And we encourage you to keep doing what you guys are doing. So let me relaunch in a few seconds. And then you guys can join again, because I can see the time is running out. Let me relaunch very fast and then you join again.